Happy opening day, ladies and gentlemen. Last night did not count. We are doing opening day today. Jack and Aram on the Just Baseball Show. Today is Thursday, March 26th. We are so happy baseball and regular season baseball is back. You know what? Let's just put the mic down and clap for a minute.
You didn't give Peter that clap for the top 100. I did it.
How was the last 30 minutes after I opted out?
It was good. Less debate when you get to just like Jose Ramirez versus
he's so freaking
Francisco,
good, bro.
Yeah, versus Francisco Lindor. They're both fire.
Like, all right,
so that part was fun.
Gas, both of them. That's great. Just Baseball Show, as always, presented by BetMGM. A reminder to make it legendary. Here's what we're going to do. Quick recap of Giants-Yankees last night, and then we are going to get into the early afternoon slate, the mid-afternoon slate, and then the night slate on opening day. We'll also talk about the teams that will have opening day on Friday. There are a couple of teams that will have opening day on Friday, including this ballpark, this beautiful ballpark that I'm sitting in right now. We are gearing up for this final deal. So it's going to be a ton of fun. But, man, what'd you think of, I don't know, I guess just baseball that actually counted last night in Giants-Yankees?
I have a confession. I had a men's league softball game. We were down like 5 guys already, so I could not opt out. 7:45 first pitch. Here's the funny thing. 7:45 first pitch. I'm like, I'm going to miss the first few innings. I'm checking my phone between innings, between my innings, of course. And
yeah, naturally.
We're like in the third of our softball game, and I still see the game hasn't started yet. The Yankees-Giants has just not started yet. It says delayed. I'm thinking, is it raining? I'm like, no way it's raining in San Francisco right now. Like, I don't think so. Turns out it was just delayed because of pageantry. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they needed to clear the cable car and the taxis off.
You would know better than me because I didn't see any of the pregame stuff.
Yeah.
Was it a Netflix delay or was it more of like who causes that delay? Is it MLB planning and scheduling or is it Netflix and all the stuff that they want? I imagine both because they paid a lot of money to have their own opening day and all of these ideas in this plan that they had. If you announce an 8:05 first pitch, it can't be or 8:05 Eastern, right? It can't be a 8:25 Eastern first pitch.
But it can. That's the thing. Like, look at the NBA, right? How many times in college
Great
football,
products,
I think
by the way.
Best example. Primetime college football on ABC, right? What time does that game begin? It's listed at 7:30 Eastern. It almost always begins at 7:44. Sometimes there's a 10-minute slide to 7:54. Those are just the intricacies of TV. And honestly, those are the intricacies of pomp and circumstance. So it was a pomp and circumstance delay.
I'm glad baseball's made it there, baby. It's made it to pomp and circumstance.
It's made it there. And I saw plenty of people talking about the Netflix presentation. And I will just give you my takeaway. It was overwhelmingly positive. I personally love that Netflix is getting into sports coverage. And like, this was their first baseball event ever. I thought they made it a huge deal, which was really cool. And like Jameis Winston talking to Harrison Bader. And Bader
I did
saying,
see that.
I popped up against you. That was hilarious. Like, I love all of that stuff. And I love the new mediums coming into baseball because that tells you baseball's in a really freaking good spot, folks.
That was kind of my other thought too. Because I've been to college football games where I'm sitting there and like the play is ready to start, right? And you got the refs literally holding their hands up with a clock counting down from like 2 minutes. Like, guys are all lined up ready to go. Like, no, you can't because of TV. And we haven't really had like baseball specific games that need to adhere to those types of things. So I think that's really fun. I also had a lot of texts from friends who aren't big baseball fans. That's always usually my barometer. And they're like, oh, the game's on Netflix today. Like, I guess I'll tune in because they don't have an MLB TV package, but they have Netflix, obviously. So they're going to tune in for a few innings. And I think that part was really cool. It's an interesting conversation about like accessibility for the league that they have to figure out in terms of all the RSN issues. But as it pertains to having these special games on different platforms, I do really like it. And I think, everyone's always going to be a little bit apprehensive to something new. And I think you're always going to get, especially in baseball, you're going to get some pushback. But I'm all for it. And I know that like the product's going to continue to evolve and get better and better. And I'm excited to have more different large media entities. And I mean, Netflix is as big as it gets, putting their hands into baseball and trying to create a fun product out of it.
The feel, the production, it felt like a huge deal. It really did. It felt like a serious situation for Netflix. And I feel like they rose to the occasion there. I also feel like Major League Baseball rose to the occasion there. It felt like that was the I don't know. I guess like the first Thursday night game, right, of the NFL season always kind of has that big feel like a lid lifter. It felt like a lid lifter last night. And credit to the Yankees for winning 7-0. Not an indictment on Webb, although Webb would tell you that he had a bad outing. Like, that Yankee offense is really good. And I saw Passan's tweet last night, and he was stating something that I thought was obvious, but it is kind of fair when you just sit there and clown the Yankee offseason. Oh, they're just running it back. They weren't good enough last year. This is one of the best teams in baseball. It's one of the best lineups in baseball. And when they get Cole and Rodon back, like, they look pretty unfreaking believable. Even when Judge punches out 4 times, it's one of the worst opening days that we have ever seen. And Peyton Genis did put together a video on Judge having one of the worst opening days that we've seen. But the Yankees were incessant, and Trent Grisham, folks, got himself an extra base hit that was not a home run. That's huge.
Or a triple.
It was a triple. So it wasn't a double. He's still, 8 away from his double total from last year.
Yeah. So the other interesting thing, Judge 0 for 4 punchies. I think the fact that people are focusing on that when the Yankees win the way that they did is kind of silly, but all I could see. It's a reminder that, like, if Ben Rice, which I do think too, I do agree with Peter, is going to make that leap. Like, if Ben Rice makes that leap that he, that we think he can make, that the Savant page all red implies. And if Ryan McMahon is half decent, but then you look at the rest of the offense, like, running it back isn't necessarily a bad thing. And then they're not just running back the roster. Like, they went out and got Ryan Weathers, who you can attest when healthy is a very good pitcher, who you saw with your own eyes, right? Like, they've made some other moves that I think are interesting. You have a full season of Cam Schlittler. You have some other guys that can come up and help you. They've got a lot of depth. So, no, I think that is a good point. And on the Giants side, it's funny because, like, Webb's stuff was solid. He punched out 7. He only walked 1. I really think it comes down to the Yankees' game plan was clearly, like, executed to a T. And I think they were ready for Logan Webb. They had a lot of time to prepare for Logan Webb. And I think they were in a position there where they were going to hammer those changeups. And I mean, you look at the hits, majority of their hits came on changeups. They were looking for stuff just running down, and they were all over it. He still punched out 7, but they were able to maximize the damage on the pitches that they were ready for.
No Peter today. So Peyton is our resident Yankee fan. Do you want to, like, stomp on graves or run a victory lap? What you trying to do here?
No, that's not the type of fan I am. But I did want to piggyback off Arm's point, is that the Yankees game plan against Webb, who stuff I think looked sharp, especially once he started getting that sweeper going, was get him early. They had 5 hits last night on the first pitch. That was 5 of their 10. And they had 7 hits within the first 3 pitches of an at-bat. That was clearly their plan, to strike early. Sometimes the Yankees annoy me with their early counter aggression, but last night it worked. Stanton had 2 very, very nice swings, and you have to shut out Max Fried. I mean, got into some trouble early and locked in for 6 1/3 of shutout baseball. And just 2 notes quickly, just to wrap up my point. Logan Webb allowed 7 runs. That's more runs allowed than any of his starts in 2025. And on the flip side, Aaron Judge struck out 4 times. He did not strike out 4 times in any game in 2025. So
how about that? He has done that before in his career, though.
Of course. Yeah, he struck out 5 times in a game before. But
that's right. Yeah.
In 2025, Logan Webb and Aaron Judge did not have a game as bad as their first game of 2026.
And I was still thoroughly entertained by the baseball game. So that tells you all you got to know, I think. And Webb is, I firmly believe, a better pitcher than Max Fried, but Fried looked the part last night. My last thing on opening night was San Francisco was the perfect place for that. It was the perfect place for the lid lifter. Like, that is, if you haven't been out there, put it at the tippy top of your baseball bucket list. There's a ton of historical value to Fenway and Wrigley, and I can totally get behind Fenway and Wrigley. But when you ask me, what is the best ballpark in Major League Baseball? It's Oracle Park in freaking San Francisco, California.
You nailed it. I give the same answer to everybody every time, especially when they hear about, the stadium. And now you're going to get that question. You already do now, because you're going to hit every stadium, and probably very, very, very soon here, especially with the new MLB scheduling.
Kansas City in September. That'll be the last one.
Oh, we can do it together then.
Yeah.
But, for me, that's the last one too. And I always get asked, like, what's your favorite? And I'm like, you got to separate the historic ones. And then you got to, like, because it's just, you can't compare Wrigley to San Diego, like Petco. You can't. But
it's impossible.
when you're judging from the modern parks, or at least the ones that aren't fully historic, San Francisco's got to be on the Mount Rushmore. Same with Petco too in San Diego. But I think San Francisco might have the best just overall energy for baseball. Like if I'm taking someone to a baseball game for the first time, and it can't be like a historic stadium, I think it's going to be that one. And you're just going to get all the sights, sounds, smells, views, fans, like everything you want at a ballpark. So I agree. It's a great spot to have started the season.
It's incredible. I do have one quick thing before we go rapid fire through the opening day games on Thursday. I just want to show you some, I think, reworked mechanics. I don't not think that it was this egregious last year, but I was watching an exhibition game, one of the Freeway Series games earlier this week, and I saw Ryan Johnson throwing, and I know you like Ryan Johnson, but this is unbelievable. Is his arm going to detach from his body? Just watching, and this is best enjoyed on YouTube, but I mean, it is no legs, and he is just using as much arm as he possibly can in his delivery. Explain how this makes sense.
It doesn't. He was kind of rocking like that last year. It might be even more armsy this year. I got to see what the extension is on Ryan Johnson. For those that like are just listening on audio, he looks like he's just playing catch, right? I mean,
it's a nonchalant step forward, and then he manages to whip his throwing arm as fast as humanly possible. It's like if you ask someone to try and throw out their arm, that's what Ryan Johnson's doing.
I think that's what I did to my arm in high school. But he somehow gets like 6 feet of extension, which is below average, but not egregious. I think that that release is almost deceptive. Everything's running down and away. Then he's got the cutter glove side. It's weird. It kind of works. I think they moved him to the bullpen for that reason, knowing that like this is a lot of pressure on the guy's arm. But he's back into the rotation and it's time to go, baby. So let's see if it works.
It is so funny. I just thought it was hilarious. And Ryan Johnson, in the opening day rotation for the Angels, notably no Grayson Rodriguez. He's hurt. Elbow soreness, I think, is what I read for G-Rod, which is unfortunate, but Reed Detmer's back in the Angel rotation. They're league passy to tease the tail end of this program. But at the end of the show, we're going to reveal our top 5 league pass lineups that we're going to be watching, because that could be a fun little element of this. But I do want to get into opening day. This is the goods, folks. Before that, let's whoosh real quick. Opening day, let's start with the early going of the slate on Thursday. The first game that gets going today on Thursday, 1:15 in Queens. Paul Skeens, Freddie Peralta, Mets, and Pirates. Here's what I want to do. It's not like we're going to spend 5 to 6 minutes on each. We're going to spend like 90 seconds to 2 minutes on each. I just want your 1 or 2 big things you're watching today in each game.
I mean, in this one, it's just, I want to see Freddie Peralta in his debut, right? And just see the energy there. I mean, Paul Skeens, you're going to just, the thing to watch with Paul Skeens is watch Paul Skeens. But with Peralta, I think there's going to be a lot of adrenaline. I think there's a lot of excitement and pressure, and it's in Flushing, Queens. Like you're going to have a lot of energy there. You're opposite of the best pitcher in the National League. I think it's just going to be a fun opportunity to see how, Freddie Peralta can try to match a Paul Skeens. And then that's just another opening day with the energy there and the excitement around the Mets, and opposite of Skeens. That's going to be one of the best environments I think that you'll be able to feel through your TV set on opening day.
Yeah, 2 quick things on this one. Freddie Peralta's Met debut. Actually, 3 quick things. So Freddie Peralta's Met debut, how this Met lineup deals with Skeens. Like, I wonder if Skeens is going to be a little juiced. He was asked if it feels a little different throwing on opening day in New York, and he said, yeah, I guess it'll be a little chilly, which was a very good and stoic answer from Mr. Skeens. But Skeens dealing with that Met lineup, Lindor, Soto, Bichette at the top. The other big thing, Carson Benj making his major league debut playing right field against Paul Skeens on opening day. I'm so excited to see what Benj can do. And as weird as it sounds, I know he hasn't logged a regular season plate appearance. I think he could just be this jolt of energy for the Mets at the outset of the year.
Yeah, and especially just because when I look at some of these teams, a Benj role compared to a Weatherholt. Weatherholt's going to be hitting leadoff. We'll talk about that on opening day. But that team's not, you never know, but that team's not really playing for, I think, super, super high hopes in St. Louis. With the Mets, it's a team that's playing for high hopes, and you think about a rookie and how he can impact the team there. It's a little bit more of an insulated role. At the same time, it's a lot of pressure, because if you're not performing, they'll go find somebody that can. They don't, when you're trying to win a World Series, you're not going to punt a spot in the lineup in the name of development. But at the same time, there's a lot of different ways that Carson Bench can impact the game. One with the glove, and I know that's what they're really excited about. And with the arm, he was a two-way guy. He can run. He can play a good center, so you put him in the corner, he's going to be great there. But two, just the great at-bats that he can put together. He's an underrated runner, and I watched him at the end of spring training, man. This guy's laying down drag bunts. And I think there's going to be points like 3 years down the line where Carson Bench is hitting for a little bit more power and looking like, just a really impactful middle of the order, top of the order type of guy. And we're going to be like, remember when Carson Bench was running drag bunts and sacrificing at the back of the Mets lineup in 2026? Like, I think it's a fun way to see him break into the game, but I think we're going to see a much different Bench in a couple years. So it's cool because I do think it's this very dynamic role that he's going to fill for them that I think is much needed in this lineup.
Nothing screams opening day in Milwaukee like an 8-pitch walk to Chase Mydroth at the outset. Jacob Mizorowski and Shane Smith, they get going at 2:15 Eastern or 2:10 Eastern, 1:10 local time in Milwaukee. Again, Jacob Mizorowski and Smith, 2 All-Stars last year, 2 All-Stars as a rookie last year. They were interesting conversations. One might have been a token All-Star. The other might have been a special circumstance All-Star with Mizorowski. But I am curious how Mizorowski meets the moment of opening day. Like, adrenaline can work against him at points, but we also saw him throw 103 last year in the postseason. I do think his postseason innings matter in this setting.
Yeah. Also, I think Pat McAfee offered him like $100,000 to like the charity of his choice, if I'm not mistaken, if he touches 104. I really hope.
Yeah, I think
that.
so, but I didn't see a stipulation that it be in the strike zone.
Yeah, he should just spike it. I hope he doesn't pursue that. But no, I mean, this is a fun one because I wasn't really sure who was going to get the ball on opening day. Maybe that was silly of me. I don't know. I'm curious if Brewers fans had an expectation one way or another.
I'll tell you, I bet they gave it to Priester if he wasn't hurt.
That's true. Yeah, Priester did earn it last year. But I guess, yeah, once you have Priester out, just the excitement around Mizorowski and what he could potentially do and the way that he finished the year, as you mentioned, the postseason performance and all of that stuff. And he had a nice spring overall. I know the last outing wasn't great, but overall stuff looked really good. He was throwing more strikes. So, yeah, I think that's what it's all about, right? Is like, can he do more of the postseason thing where the adrenaline worked in his favor? And I think that's just the number one thing to watch there with the White Sox. It's just more a Kami watch, right? I think that's really what it ultimately is this guy whiffed a lot in spring training still. I don't want to take too much from that. But at the end of the day, like when you're watching the White Sox and as it pertains to like intrigue, I feel like they're going to have some young prospects up there and guys that I'm going to be excited about. But right now, the biggest question I'm always going to have one and want to try to get some answers on when I'm watching that team is Murakami going to make enough contact?
Yeah, that's totally fair. Peyton, what you got?
Slight off topic, just wanted to rip it. Fanatics had a crazy sale last night. This is not an ad.
So I saw what they were doing like last week. I mean, they had shirts on sale for like $3.
$3.99. Can I show you the shirt I just got for $3?
Yes. Did you purchase? You got a Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez, White Sox, and MLB Jam shirt for $4. That's awesome.
I got like 6 shirts, but that's the one I'm going to wear the most, I think.
That's so good, man. And I love that. So I guess they're not live printed. Like that's just overstock, right? They have.
I assume. But I got that. I got a TA jersey too. Got Tim Anderson jersey as well.
You're a jersey guy. Are you still a jersey guy?
Huge jersey guy.
You're a jersey guy. I stopped doing the jersey. I think when I was 18 or 19, I was like, I'm just going to get the cheap jersey, the knockoff.
Yeah. Well, I also got a City Connect Nolan Arenado St. Louis jersey for $20, which I think it's Arenado.
Brutal City Connect jersey. I hate that jersey.
I like it though. I like the Lou one. I like
the Lou
one.
The Lou.
The Lou is the word for the bathroom in the UK.
Yeah. No, I was asking my girlfriend's family. There's all like Cardinals fans from St. Louis, larger area, and a couple of them were like, yeah, I've heard of it referred to as the Lou. If it's not a consensus, like, yeah, the Lou, it can't be your City Connect. It needs to be a consensus, like, yeah, that's us. It's connecting with the city. That's the whole point. Not connecting with a part of the city. Like
the White Sox Southside thing, right? Southside or Wrigleyville for the Cubs.
Everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. Space City for Houston.
The Lou.
Like, it's just tough because how many Brits have you heard on TV shows and movies say, I'm going to go hit the Lou real quick? And I'm like, oh, man, that kind of stinks. Yeah, that's
Sounds
tough.
like
but,
the 2020
it was fitting for last year.
Cards.
Yeah, just a little bit. But no, good for you getting your $4 Yoan Moncada, Eloy Jimenez White Sox
Very
t-shirt.
excited.
Sox, Southside stand up, right? Okay. Next one we've got 10 minutes later. Yep, at Wrigley. 120 at Wrigley, baby. It's so back. Matthew Boyd, Cade Cavalli in Cubs Nationals. This is going to be, I don't want to say a dud just yet. Cavalli did look really good in spring training, but it could be a dud. I think Washington could really, really struggle this year. The Cubs, I guess it's just the Bregman debut. That's what I'm watching. And then also the ovation that PCA gets on opening day.
Yeah, he's going to get a nice one. It's funny because we didn't really, have we talked about the extension much on here?
No, not really.
It's really not that much of an extension, right? It's like more of just kind of like buying out the ARB years and getting an extra
2 free agent years. That's it.
But gives you clarity. And I mean, that's going to be this team's window for a good bit now. And like, it's just a great gesture. And I think it was a really smart move overall. And economically it makes sense for the Cubs, especially for a guy like PCA, who's like, because of his defensive value, he's going to win his ARB cases if you try to fight him on it. Like every metric's going to love him defensively. Like good luck. So I think it was a smart move by the Cubs, and good for PCA though at the same time to just guarantee yourself that generational wealth. So and still hit free agency quite young. So going to be a special ovation. I think Cubs fans are going to be really happy that he is locked up for a long time here. And I mean, look, Cavalli, it's going to be fun though, because if Cade Cavalli's on, he has the stuff to stifle any lineup. I think that's abundantly clear. He had a wonderful spring as well. He didn't give up an earned run, Cavalli, in the entire spring. 14 innings, no earned, 10 Ks. He's getting ground balls, he's getting whiff. I don't know if it's going to go great, but that this guy has all the talent in the world. It's just been about injuries. So like, I'm just excited to watch and just see what version of Cavalli they get. And if this is going to be the year where Cavalli fully, breaks out and bursts onto the scene. Tough spot to be at Wrigley with that lineup, but that's pretty much the only intrigue. And then, does James Wood just like hit a ball backside, into the bleachers
and cut through some wind? It might be a little chilly at Wrigley today. I'm not 100% sure what the temp is there, but it might be a little bit chilly. And Peyton just flashed the graphic. Cavalli better throw well, because it does not get better after that. Michaelis, Jake Irvin, Foster Griffin, Littell. I think the argument is there to be had that their best pitcher is in the 5 spot in their rotation. And I understand that he was a late free agent signing in Littell, but Cavalli, I do think, will look like a rotation frontman for, granted, the worst rotation in baseball. And I honestly don't think it's very close with the veterans that Colorado just added. Let's go to 305 here in Baltimore. Trevor Rogers, opening day starter for the Baltimore Orioles. He opposes Joe Ryan for the Minnesota Twins. Again, 305 Eastern at Camden Yards. This is going to be fun. We talk about the friskiness of the Minnesota Twins. This is a legitimate all-star caliber pitcher in Ryan. I'm just really excited, not to spoil the League Pass thing. This Baltimore offense on full display right away. It's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I like, who's Trevor Rogers, man? Is he more of what he was last year? Final start of the spring was pretty darn nasty. Struck out 7 and 5 1/3, but he was unhittable last year. So that's a big thing for me. Every start, I just want to see, is he doing it again? Is Trevor doing it again? And I hope he is. But that paired with, I think the lineup there and the kind of revamped lineup is I think a huge excitement. And then anytime Joe Ryan throws, it's always fun to watch. And I think there's some young players on the Twins that I'm looking forward to watching.
Yep. Going into the late afternoon slate here, let's go to the 4:10 first pitches in Cincinnati. This is going to be really fun. 2 of the better left-handers in the game. Andrew Abbott and the Cincinnati Reds taking on Red Sox ace Garrett Crochet and Boston. Opening day in Cincinnati is an absolute spectacle. If you're not dialed into it, get involved. I guarantee you both telecasts are going to be showing plenty outside the ballpark before first pitch. But the celebration of baseball being back in Cincinnati every single year, it really does feel like the birthplace of Major League Baseball. It does. And Abbott, I think, is a good tone setter. Obviously, it sucks not to see Hunter Greene and Garrett Crochet here, because that would be a movie. But Abbott's really damn good, man, and he is going to defy the peripherals time and time again. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, Crochet, I think, is top 3 or 4 pitchers I'm just locked in, enjoying to watch at any given moment. And then, you watch Andrew Abbott become just an escape artist of escape artists. I'm going to talk about the Reds a little bit more later, too. I'm captivated by that lineup, especially with the combination of young guys and then the additions of guys as well. How can they battle against a guy like Garrett Crochet? And then the Red Sox are just like this puzzle that I think they haven't even fully figured out, that I'm excited to see them figure out. Like Connolly Early makes the team, but so does Brian Bayo and Johan Oviedo. And so that's 6 spots in the rotation. What are they going to do there? I know that doesn't affect things today, but I also look at the lineup and it's kind of a similar thing. It's like, okay, what the hell do you do with Masataka Yoshida? He's just going to come off the bench. The Durbin Meyer thing is interesting. Like this team just fascinates me. And so I'm just very eager to see just game to game how they handle things. But in a game against a lefty, that's the most interesting part, because like IKF's a reverse splits guy. Like we've talked about some of the things in terms of like platooning. I don't know if they set themselves up in the best way to like platoon. So I just want to see this Red Sox lineup and how they go about things. When it comes to the rotation. And I see someone in the comments saying, don't act like Bayo wasn't going to make the team. I thought they were going to freaking dump his contract like they were hinting at forever and shopping him around, which I can confirm they were shopping him around. Why would you not trade him? So that was my point there. But yeah, I think I just always interested with the Red Sox. I think they're just a captivating team.
Yeah, and not lost on me. And I know that it's been a long time since he did this. You got to go back to 22, but Oviedo has had success out of a major league bullpen before, not in leverage moments, but like as a multi-inning reliever. So Oviedo could actually be a swingman that doesn't start all the time.
Which is really funny, giving up assets for that. I know they have a long-term vision for him, but like giving up assets for that, spending a lot of money for Ranger Suarez, and then we still have some questions of like what the lineup's going to look like against left-handed pitching, but we'll find out.
We shall see. At 4:10 in Houston, Hunter Brown gets the ball for the Houston Astros against Jose Soriano and the LA Angels. It is on it's my favorite name for a TV network. It's not Astros.tv. It's the Space City Home Network. So you can watch it there. And then still FanDuel Sports Network West is the Angels. So they are the only FanDuel branded TV network remaining in Major League Baseball. But Brown, Soriano, the Angel offense, I guess, is intriguing enough, but I'm really just looking forward to the Hunter Brown show in Houston.
It's all about the Hunter Brown show. I think Jose Soriano is a very underratedly fun watch as well on the mound. Guy he throws gas, gets a ton of ground balls. It's just a super live arm. So I do enjoy watching Jose Soriano pitch. And then I'm just really interested to see what Mike Trout can do for the red light therapy business. Because if Mike Trout is fully back this year, I'm going to try to find some way to invest in red light therapy, because that's going to be the most unavoidable story. It's already been covered a good bit, but if he plays really well this year, you're going to get so much red light therapy discussion. That said, anytime Mike Trout's healthy and on the field, I'm just like relentlessly rooting that he's all the way back. But yeah, I love watching 100 miles an hour with heavy sink. And the inevitable ground balls that Jose Soriano is going to create too. But Hunter Brown I think people need to start appreciating him as one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. If the episode wasn't trending for 2 hours yesterday, I would have spent some more time on Hunter Brown and making that case. But his ability, like the deep bag of pitches here, the ability to pitch to all 4 quadrants, like I love watching this guy pick apart lineups. And when he's on, I think he's aesthetically pleasing as anybody to watch pitch.
My last thing here, the tired thing is the Trout red light publicity. The Wired, I believe it was 2 years ago, Nolan Gorman dropping regular popcorn for coconut oil popcorn or avocado oil popcorn. That's the real one. If that worked and Gorman was a 35 homer guy, people would be eating coconut oil popcorn.
Sponsorship deal was already locked in 100%. The other is
absolutely locked in.
I love watching Jordan hit, and he's on the field. So let's appreciate it while he's on the field.
100%. Next one we got to talk about in San Diego. It is a 1:10 local, but 4:10 Eastern. Nick Pivetta. He was one of the last opening day starters named, so he will get the ball for the San Diego Padres against Tarek Skubal, who begins his chase for a 3rd consecutive AL Cy Young Award. First guy since Pedro in, I believe, 99 and 2000 to go back-to-back in the American League. I think that's important because you've got the DH that has been in the AL in that time. Obviously, you've got the universal DH now, but Skubal has had a really weird last couple of weeks. And there's been a lot of, to be honest, negative pub around Tarek Skubal over the last couple of weeks. it somehow managed to isolate the World Baseball Classic crowd and the Tigers crowd at the same time going into a contract year. I just want to see, like, if anything weighs on Skubal, or he just looks like Tarek effing Skubal and he's ready to go.
Yeah, and I think the latter is more likely, but I do think it's an interesting, like, just layer. I think Skubal's. It's always tough too. I always wonder when it's guys that have just always carried themselves so professionally. You just tell us a great guy goes about his business the right way and just kind of backs into a situation where he can't really do right, and maybe like frames one thing a little bit poorly in an interview, which any human on earth would do is and probably will do over the course of being in the public eye that long. And then you're like, wait, I've never really been at the hands of quote unquote controversy. Like,
Sure.
This is so weird to me. This is foreign to me. I don't like this. Right.
Yeah.
So I am curious. I ultimately think he's going to be fine and just go out there and shove. But I also am excited to just see how this Padres team battles against one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. I know Peter, like, this is one of his biggest bets, or, like, and he does great on the future side of, like, Padres under. I am captivated by this Padres team because I can understand Peter's reasoning, but I also want to like this Padres team because I think people forget how freaking bad the back half of that lineup was last year. We're talking about Jason Hayward at bats. We're talking about Martin Maldonado at bats. And, like, the back half of this lineup is really solid now. I think the question could be a little bit in the rotation, though. But I like this lineup a lot. I like this Padres team. I always am gravitated towards watching them, and I'm just very fascinated by them. I think they're going to surprise some people. And what better way to start it than, maybe putting together some good at-bats against Tarek Skubal.
You and I like Freddie Fermin about 300 times more than Peter Apple likes Freddie Fermin. I also think the Miguel Andujar pickup was a really good pickup for them. That is a very strong role player. And then Laureano was on the first opening day lineup for the Padres. He was a deadline acquisition last year. Bench still worries me. That bench is not very good, but Nick Castellanos is on that bench, so we'll see what happens here. Also, credit to Fangraphs for the bunting along the top of their page. So I was scrolling on Roster Resource, and I was like, there's bunting in the way. Get it out. But then I was like, no, this is perfect for opening day.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, next late afternoon game we got to talk about at 4:15 in St. Louis. You're going to get the Budweiser Clydesdales out there. Matthew Liberatore and Drew Rasmussen. I'll be honest. If there is a nap time game, this might be the nap time game, unfortunately. Rasmussen, I have questions about, and they're skewed positively. I think Rasmussen's a really, really good pitcher, and last year showed that. My questions are not within a start. It's over the course of 162 games and 32 starts. How unleashed is Drew Rasmussen really? Rasmussen and McClanahan, like, that question is huge to me, especially now that Pepio's on the shelf.
Yeah, I think this game's all about, you get to see JJ Weatherholt. That's going to be a fun ovation in his, in his first at bat at home. Yep. I think that's going to be a really fun wrinkle to it. See him go about his business. But Drew Rasmussen's also coming off of a spring training start going into the season now where he went 5 2/3, had 11 hits and 8 runs, 3 homers. So how does he bounce back from that? Matthew Liberatore is an opening day starter. I think that's interesting. But it's really just the JJ Weatherholt show for me here. And I think Jordan Walker, like, what do you get? I think that's the other one. Just is assuming he's in the lineup.
Can I say something that might be a bit contentious? Mason Wynn, what do you get?
Yeah.
It's been a tale of 2 seasons offensively for him. Defensively, you know what you're getting, but can he turn into a star? Defensively, with what he does and how exciting the defense is, this guy could have superstar type of upside. But, like, can you firmly become a star and start to flirt with that this year? That's a big thing for me.
Can I pull a yard card on a guy that maybe some people don't even know who he is?
Yes.
Nathan Church.
Yes, let's go.
So Nathan Church, dude, I don't know how much. I'm sure you saw a decent amount of him because you guys share a spring training complex with,
and all the time with the Memphis Redbirds over the last couple of years.
So he's moving the bat like 3-4 miles per hour harder, like faster this year. I don't know what that guy did in the offseason, maybe a little bat speed program. I don't know. He's moving the bat way quicker. And he was already an elite bat to ball guy with good angles. And now he's moving the bat way quicker. Look out for Nathan Church. He might just kind of be like a little bit of an upgraded version of Victor Scott. Obviously not as electrifyingly fast, but plus defender, plus runner, like contact oriented. And then the sneaky pop might be the separator. Look out for Nathan Church this year. I just wanted to bring that up.
I dig it. I saw Peyton added a quick thing on Rasmussen here, and I would love to get into Rasmussen a little bit more. This guy, 31 starts last year at a 2.76 ERA, but it was a hard shutdown at 150 innings. He threw 6 innings. It was a diabolical 6 innings, and then Kevin Cash would take the ball from him and say, "Thank you for your service. We're trying to make sure you stay healthy."
Yep.
He threw fewer than 30 innings in 24. He threw fewer than 45 innings in 23, but he has been untouchable.
Oh, he's amazing.
Post-COVID, just like it's honestly a matter of staying on the mound. Each of the last 5 years, granted, they range from 30 innings to 75 innings to 150 innings. Every single time a sub-3 ERA.
His 2025 season's incredible because the guy's had 3 elbow surgeries. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries, and I think then had, the internal brace or whatever the heck they do the third time in there. So, like, it's amazing that he did what he did in 25, but you also have to understand, like why the Rays were approaching things the way that they did, and we'll see how they approach it this year.
Yep. We've got one more, I think, late afternoon game that we got to go over here. Yep, at 4:15. This is going to be a doozy, folks. At the bank, Christopher Sanchez, Nathan Eovaldi, Phillies, Rangers. That is a hell of a pitching matchup. Eovaldi was the best pitcher in baseball before he got hurt at the end of last year, and he missed, the final month and a half, 2 months of the season. Sanchez, I think, could be I think he firmly is the second best left-hander in baseball. I think that he can this year take the title of third best pitcher in baseball. I think he can, with a great year, bunny hop Crochet and Yamamoto and go from like 5 on my list internally to 3 behind Skeens and Skubal.
Yeah, I mean, I know he creates incredibly difficult angles for lefties, but some of the lefties I've talked to that have faced him, he's pretty consensus, like most uncomfortable at bat they've ever had, and I think understandable when you watch him throw. He's just so much fun to watch pitch too, because it's pitchability and nasty at the same time. And then I am very curious to see what Eovaldi looks like, right? I mean, there's another guy that's 2 Tommy Johns. When he's on the mound, he's really good, but again, a little bit of a forearm thing. It derails a year last year. Through spring training this year, the stuff has looked as advertised again. Is it just going to be a sprint out of the gate and then slow down, or like, is he pacing himself this year? We'll see. But Eovaldi's always fun to watch throw. And then both these lineups are really fun. I think the Justin Crawford debut is just exciting to see, given just the fanfare and who he is, the son of Carl Crawford. But he earned that. He has been dominant at every single stop. I'm just also curious to see if it's going to play. Does just Justin Crawford put the ball in the air in his first game? That'll be a fun question to see if it's answered, probably, because that's just the way things work. And then Wyatt Langford, man. I think this is going to be like the full-fledged superstar coming out party this year, but tough matchup to start to do it.
Yeah. Peyton also made a great point. I just worked against my logic. Wouldn't he be the firm third best left-handed pitcher then if he's behind Crochet right now? I think it's kind of a toss-up, but I appreciate you calling me out on that. I do think it's a little toss-up-ish between Sanchez and Crochet. Sanchez is a freaking nightmare. I know Crochet is an absolute nightmare too, but like Sanchez, I feel like is somehow underrated because he was behind Wheeler for the last couple of years. What that guy does over the course of a start is as impressive to me as what Crochet does.
Absolutely.
So, all right, let's push into the night slate here to tie a bow on opening day on Thursday. Tomorrow we'll actually do the Friday night opening days, or the Friday day opening days. But the 2 night games we have, Dodgers, D-backs, and then Guardians, Mariners. Let's get the one on NBC. It's 8:30 Eastern. Yoshinobu Yamamoto against Zach Gallen. This is a humongous year for Gallen. Yamamoto has the chance to prove that he is the third best pitcher in baseball and, make me call myself an idiot. But this game being on NBC, that's going to be great. That's going to be Benetti, Oral Hershiser, and Luis Gonzalez. I haven't been this excited for a telecast in a long time.
Does that say Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium?
Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, they sold the rights to the field. It's still Dodger Stadium, but as of yesterday, it's Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium.
Okay, I'm glad. I thought that was like, did I miss that for a while? Also,
it was just yesterday. Also, you ever shopped at Uniqlo? I love it. Sorry for the
I was going to ask one. I was going to ask what it is. 2,
it's really good.
Is that not the shittiest sponsorship you can get though? Like, you're like the intro to the ultimate name, anyways. Like, yeah, no one's going to call it anything other than Dodger Stadium. You're at Lone Depot Park right now. It's Lone Depot Park. The blank field at blank park, I just feel like that's a shitty sponsorship.
I think it's okay because everybody sees it. You know, like it's such a drastic change from just calling it Dodger Stadium. You're talking about it right now.
I saw it, but I'm also looking for shit like that. But
it also totally leads into the Japanese advertising that the Dodgers have gotten. And so much has been written. Like Forbes has published like 20 freaking articles that I've written over that I've read over the last, 2 years about the ad sales from Japan that Otani Yamamoto Sasaki bring
to
to
Japanese
the
casual wear designer. Yeah, then
and it's amazing, dude. They're in a bunch of urban areas. I highly recommend. The price point's very good, but again, this is not a free this is a free advertisement right now. I'm sorry.
Us, the Just Baseball show presented by BetMGM, but also presented by Uniqlo. We got to double dip like that.
It's like Coach K Court at Cameron Indoor, like Nick Saban Field at Bryant Denny Stadium, right?
I felt like they do those so that you can honor the coach, but then still get your ad money. The double dip ad money, it's like that's why the Dodgers are different right now. What other MLB team right now is doing X field at Y stadium?
Just moving different. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Just
you got something on Dodgers D-backs?
No, something I wanted to add because I don't remember you guys hitting on this earlier, and I just wanted to say, Mets Pirates is also on Peacock NBC. So that game is also on Peacock.
And Mets Pirates is on Peacock, yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, Vasgersian did the game on Netflix on Wednesday night, and then he's doing the first game on Thursday on Peacock, which is crazy. So he goes San Francisco to New York, and he's doing the first two games.
Maybe that's
TV,
why, He was gassed out. Yeah, yesterday he accidentally called Logan Webb Brandon, but I kind of appreciated it because shout out.
That's a good shout.
That's a ball.
Shout out Brandon Webb.
It makes sense. I mean, his voice was in all of the MLB The Show games.
So Peacock will be Vasgersian and two local analysts. I don't know who's doing it with him. That'll be did we cut out for a minute? No, we're good.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, that'll be Vasgersian and then two local analysts for the Peacock thing. And then on NBC, it'll be Benetti, Oral Hershiser, and Luis Gonzalez, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, so, it is a really fun. I'm interested to see Luis Gonzalez on the mic. I don't know if I have any. I don't know if I've seen him do anything. Have I missed that?
He's done a couple things. I think he kind of rotates in because Bob Brenly's the main guy that does D-backs TV stuff. I don't know if I've listened to Luis Gonzalez either, but he has the biggest moment in the history of that franchise. Last game that gets going, the only late game, Guardians-Mariners 10-10 in Seattle. Logan Gilbert, Tanner Bybee. I feel like I watch Guardians-Mariners 30 times over the course of the year. Like I just always feel like I'm watching that game in Seattle, but I'm so amped for it.
And Tanner Bybee's pitching every time. I'm pretty sure every single time. But it's great. I'm not complaining. I love watching Tanner. I'm excited to see Tanner this year. To be honest, because we know how good Bybee can be, and we've seen dominant stretches. And then we talked about it. I think he was really unlucky in a lot of stretches last year. And I'm just curious to see what it looks like in, over this season as well. Gilbert and the Mariners, they're one of the more popular teams in baseball now in terms of just like people that are obviously in on them to make a run in the playoffs and potentially get to the World Series. They're going to be a team that I think anytime they're on TV and you're picking through, what you want to go watch, which we're going to talk about here, how do you not sign up for the Mariners with the roster that they have and the pitching staff that they have? And, Logan Gilbert, when he's healthy and on, is as fun to watch as anybody.
That is our opening day preview for you. Again, we'll go over the Friday games on Friday early afternoon, but do want to wrap with a fun little exercise. Arm Layton, you go first, then I'll go. Give me your top 5 league pass lineups for this year.
Yeah, so I want to be clear here. So the league pass lineups, right? Like we're sitting on a couch. I have every game's on at the same time. What am I going to gravitate towards out of my curiosity and intrigue? So being really good obviously helps on the intrigue side, but curiosity is a big part of this thing. And I think the two things kind of blend together. And that's why the first of my league pass teams, the teams I'm just going to be checking in on pretty frequently, is Cincinnati Reds. Because I think the Cincinnati Reds, one, pitching staff wise, are super underrated. And any given day, you're going to see some fun arms there, especially once Hunter Green is healthy and back. But when you look at the Reds, just the roster, also when they're playing at home in that ballpark, it's kind of like the Coors thing. Like I'm just excited. I'm just like, well, we're gonna see a lot of offense. The problem is I haven't wanted to tune into games at Coors because like who was I watching? Even now I'm a little bit more interested. They have major leaguers. When you have Elly De La Cruz on the field, I think Matt McClain's spring training is extremely captivating when when you have one of the best spring trainings of all time. Sal Stewart, as you know, like I think he's a guy that could win Rookie of the Year outright and is going to have a huge rookie season this year. And then you add Geno Suarez, who like if he played his games in that ballpark, could have made a run at 60 homers this past year. Like that whole wrinkle is so much fun for me. And then you have Noelvi, and then like what does Cabrian Hayes look like? And he start to slug a little bit more in that ballpark. I just think this team is super interesting with the superstar and Elly, or budding superstar, with then some of the questions of like McClain and Sal, young guys, what are they going to do? And then Geno in that ballpark. I think we could be seeing a lot of homers. He might get on base at a 290 clip, but he might hit 55.
Yeah, damn right. Okay, number 2 for you.
Number 2, again, this is more intrigue, curiosity. Kansas City Royals.
Okay.
I have so much that I want to find out with this team. Well, and one, like I still get my superstar, right? I get the third best player in baseball every time I'm watching. Sure. And I can watch on the defensive side of things too. He might make a highlight reel, incredible play in Bobby Witt Jr., but also he's going to do everything. And so that's really fun. Michael Garcia, like taking another step forward, like this guy looks like an all-star type of player here. And then, you have Vinny and Salvi. That's great. But Carter Jensen and Jack Caglione. What are these guys going to look like? 2 guys that I am so bullish on their power potential. 2 guys that I think could hit 30 plus easily this year, especially with the Walls being brought in. I'm just so excited to find out what Jensen and Cags can do this year, paired with the superstar and Bobby Witt Jr., and then just better complementary pieces in Michael Garcia and Vinny Pasquantino took a step forward last year, and it's just fun to watch. So that team in general, super excited about the questions to be answered. And then also, I think there's some fun talent to watch as well.
Number 3.
Cubs. I just think 1 through 9, dude. Like we talk about piss break. Where's your piss break in the Cubs lineup, man? Like
there
Ian
might
Happ.
not be one.
Ian Happ, sure, like I guess, but like Ian Happ is like a really solid player. You're going to Pete because you know that he's going to battle it out, maybe draw a walk, hit a single, whatever. But like Ian Happ is a walking quality at bat. I still have the intrigue of like, what is Moises Ballesteros going to do this year? I think there's a lot of intrigue of what does Pete Crow Armstrong do this year? Is Matt Shaw going to be playing some corner outfield? Like, I want to see what Matt Shaw looks like this year. Even the bench, like the guys that are filling in that may be kind of the piss break players, like Michael Conforto, Dylan Carlson, Scott Kingery. That's hilarious. But I just 1 through 9, all intrigue. I mean, I'm not going to do the whole roster resource thing. You know the lineup. Plus the Bregman edition. Alex Bregman's one of my favorite at-bats in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He's so good at what he's good at, and he's so good at avoiding what he's not as good at. And that's very few things in terms of pitches that he can attack and how he can be effective in an at-bat. So I love this team, and I'm also just really interested to see, like, day in and day out, the way that they're just a relentless lineup.
Yep. Number 4.
So I was going with the Blue Jays because I have some Okamoto curiosity and I just love this team. Obviously they went into the World Series, but I think I have some more interest in the Orioles, to steal a little bit of your thunder, because I think Gunnar Henderson takes that leap back to like MVP candidate role. What the hell is Adley Rutschman? I've been doing some visuals in our Discord of like hitting prospect data of like average launch angle on hard hit baseballs paired with contact rate, paired with EV90. And Samuel Basayo was in such a unique spot on that plot that like it just made me even more curious and excited to see what he could do. His cows are going to bounce back. What does Kobe Mayo look like? There's so much upside and intrigue, but also so much question. I am just so intrigued by this lineup.
Okay. And then rounding it out, who you got at 5?
I got to go with the Mets. I know that might be like kind of a chalky answer because I know like we didn't pick the Yankees and the Yankees are really good and whatever it may be. And I know there's some other lineups I'm probably missing here, but the Mets are a similar question of like, what are we going to get? Well, one, you get the superstars at the top. I can watch Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto in particular any day of the week. But then Bo Bichette playing third and also in that lineup is just really interesting to me. On still kind of a mini prove it deal. Jorge Polanco playing first. I still think that guy's really good. What is Luis Robert Jr.? Is this the year where he bounces back? I can't wait to find out. Francisco Alvarez has the upside to be one of the best catchers in baseball if he's healthy. We just talked about Carson Bench. You know he's one of my favorite prospects, so I'm obviously going to gravitate towards there. And who was one of my favorite prospects? Brett Beatty. I think this is a year where he takes another step forward as well. Then you have the Vientos wrinkle, all these different things. This offense has a fun blend of superstardom, and what are they going to get?
Yeah, I feel terrible because the Athletics didn't make your top 5 and they don't make my top 5, but I will say the A's are my honorable mention. They're my 6th.
100%.
So that's big. You guys ready for my top 5?
Yes.
Okay. So do you want me to start at 1 or 5? I'll start at 1. Number 1, picking up with your number 5. I know it's a chalky answer, but the New York Mets. Every single piece of improvement for the New York Mets is a guy that I love watching when they're going right. I think one of those improvements is a healthy season of Francisco Alvarez. I have a baseball crush on Francisco Alvarez. I think that guy can be unbelievable and one of the better catchers in the sport. Luis Robert is a really fun player to watch when he's going right. They plug in right field. We don't have to watch many Tyrone Taylor at bats, and Tyrone Taylor's serviceable fourth outfielder, but instead of Tyrone Taylor running out there every day, it's Carson Bench running out there every day, which is really damn cool. And then instead of McNeil, you've got Beatty trying to bounce around and do this utility thing and a prove-it year. And then you've got Jorge Polanco trying first base with Bichette trying third base. So there's a lot there regurgitating. But also just Nolan McLean every 5th day. That's freaking awesome. Freddie Peralta every 5th day. That's freaking awesome. And then we'll see what Devin looks like in the back of that pen. Number 2 for me is Baltimore because of that lineup. When Holiday and hopefully Westberg a couple months into the season come back, that lineup starts to look really damn good, 1 through 9. And I'm excited to see Mayo get elongated run in the first couple months of the season. I think this could be a big year for Kobe Mayo. Number 3 for me, the Seattle Mariners. This is the year. If you're going to win the World Series, you better do it in 2026. And I am really excited to see them have their foot on the gas from March 26th onward. Number 4 is the Toronto Blue Jays. See some new threads. Cody Ponce coming over looked untouchable in spring training. That bullpen, Varland, I love watching Louis Varland throw baseballs. I mean, especially when it's just fuzz. It's a really fun time for me. And then Okamoto, I've got plenty of intrigue there. Full year adult in Varsho. Can Varsho, like, he had 21 homers in 70 games or something absurd last year.
Yeah.
So excited to see what Varsho can do over a full year. And then the manager factors in at number 5, man, San Francisco. That lineup is really good. And what is Tony Vitello? What is that experience like in San Francisco? I'm really excited for those 5.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Vitello is also going to be an interesting watch and player to monitor, or manager to monitor. The Mariners wrinkle was fun one for me too. I think Cole Young's going to break out this year. When Cole Emerson gets up there, they're in my 5. The back half of that lineup, I get a little bit bored. I got that's piss break territory over there.
I understand that. Peyton, you got anything else, or should we just wish people a happy opening day?
I wanted to run through my 5 quickly because I tried grabbing some unique ones. Not that yours weren't. I just wanted to touch on some other.
No, you
teams.
hate our list. That's fine.
Yeah, they suck. Anyway, first one, not kissing up to Jack, but the Marlins. You know, I want to see Yuri throw. I want to see Sandy throw, and I want to put the radio broadcast on and support my friend. Second, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Obviously, you want to see Skeens throw every 5th day. I want to see Bubba. I want to see that lineup. Maybe that lineup's actually good. And when Jared Jones comes back, I'm watching every 5th day.
You might see a circus on defense too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
The next one, personal one, I'm going to be watching Angels games because nothing makes me feel more emotional than watching red light Trout take at bats. The Sacramento A's. That lineup, you know, it's just there's just so much intrigue, and if that pitching is competent,
is hilarious. Yeah,
they could be like I know Arm said this before. They can be that 2009 Marlins team where it's just so much offense, and please just lock it down and let's get some wins. And number 1, which none of you said, but this is my favorite team to watch because the game quality is absurd. At the end of the year, if you take the 10 craziest games, they're in 4 of them. The Arizona Diamondbacks.
Sure.
Anything can happen at Chase Field. Anything can happen with this team because the offense is electric and the bullpen is rough.
Terrible.
So last year, I would say 5 of the 10 best games of the year were Arizona Diamondbacks games. And I'm pretty confident in that.
They were the Diamondbacks were affecting my relationship because I wouldn't go to bed ever. She's like, they're up 8. I'm like, they're not.
You don't
It's
understand.
Like, they're up 8. Go to bed. I'm like, you don't understand, Ellie. Like, 8 is 2 in Diamondbacks runs.
Oh, by the way,
Jake Woodford's warming up for the save.
By the way, to touch on it, they don't have a single left-handed reliever, and their only left-handed pitcher on the roster resource right now is Erod.
Yeah,
Man.
good thing he's again convinced that guy that it's the World WBC final, and they're in good shape.
Folks, happy opening day. We love you all listening, and
Thank you.
now it matters every single day for the next 6 months. We cannot wait to share it with you. Every link you need is in the episode description. We'll do an opening day recap pod and a preview of the teams that are playing their opening day on Friday tomorrow. For Peyton, for Aram, I'm Jack. Happy baseballing, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow.